How are we doing, you beautiful people? Welcome back to Kenshi, episode 18 of Rise of the Holy Nation. I think I have the armor figured out. So instead of taking out the Dust King, which I was planning to do for this episode, we are going to go up to a World's End. The idea at World's End is they have an armory. In that armory, they should have the mercenary equipment that we're after, which looks pretty smart and would be very fitting for the Holy Nation playthrough. The armor we got at the moment obviously is Holy Nation. It's like the Holy Chestplate and that, but it doesn't quite have the look that we're going for. So we are going to go head up to World's End, lay siege to it, and loot the town and kill all the dirty Narkos and pure everyone that is not right. But as you can see, the armor looks decent, but not quite what we're after. Also, the EX suits, were missing the trousers, so it just looks like the people are wearing leggings, which isn't quite terrifying enough. Before we can do that, we still need to recall the Adventurer squad because they are a little way away from the base. Normally it wouldn't be an issue, they could just walk across the mountains and they'd basically be in the base, but where we've walled that area off, they need to go the long way round, and as you can see, they all got split up and now we have one group being attacked by some hungry bandits. All in all, I think it'll just be some good training. Getting beaten up in Kenshi is normally a pretty good thing, so long as you don't die or lose a limb. But we do have limb dismemberment turned off on this one, sorry. So we won't need to worry about that, so we don't have too much issues there. And Zoo can always do with the training. She was one of our first recruits, but you know, compared to a Juggernaut, Humies are kind of weak and boring. So I think all we'll do is we'll call Dexter down. Dexter can go and kill off the hungry bandits and then just regroup back at the base. And here is the good boy. He's just come in and he will just absolutely shred anything that's left. It's basically my Deus Ex Machina card. If you're losing, you just bring Nippy in. He's an Orion Crocodile. He's big, he's thick, and he's dangerous. And he just loves chomping on bandits. But yeah, everywhere we go, we're being attacked by starving bandits or dust bandits. So the retreat at the moment is in complete disarray. But these things happen. It's all a part of the fun. Occasionally we'll stop and fight, but these guys are fairly close to the base. And I also have Gnu and Peter, who are on guard duty, so they should run over and intercept pretty soon. We'll get rid of their boots soon, as we won't be using those boots anyway, and they just mess up your athletic skill like nobody's business. And we've also got some Lost Iron Spiders coming in. In any other playthrough, I'll be really happy and excited to see these thick boys, but in this one, we can't really use any of the parts because obviously we're Holy Nation and we do not like the skelly boys. And right on cue, here comes Gnu. So Gnu will cover the retreat, giving the other guys a chance to disengage. Pete already seems to be fighting something. I think he's up there in the background, just a shredding face. Yeah, there is Peter. Yeah, again, crossbows, always the bane of everyone's existence in this, because they just chain lock you and it's really difficult to get an attack off. But Pete will clear that super soon, and as soon as the guys are in the kill zone, all of the harpoons are going to open up and just shred all of those dirty bandits. So Peter and Gnu managed to kill off all of the dust bandits and then catch back up with the other two that were running away and then finish off the last of the dust bandits. Those guys are insanely quick and dangerous. But almost everyone's back. We only have Nippy, Zoo and Lyric still out of the base at the moment, so there's not a massive issue. They'll be here soon, and if they run into any more trouble, we can always send another detachment over. Might have spoken a little bit too soon. Looks like Romeo went out looking for Juliet. I'm not sure why. You know how that love story ends. So we'll just bring him back to the base, and then the other guys seem to be aggroing over as well, so they will cover his retreat, and then I can just move the passive tags around. So certain people will be running at the base, other people won't. But clearly something, slight oversight on my part, which is something that we will need to sort, because I just don't want my people running around, because Romeo's in the labour corps, and obviously if he's running out fighting, he's not doing what he's meant to be doing, which is labouring. And we kind of need those resources because we are trying to get our wartime economy going. But everyone else seems pretty sweet, everyone seems to be doing quite well. The farming's going really well at the moment, cannot complain about that. Weapon production is in full swing, armour production is also in full swing, and almost everyone now is kitted out with the medikits that they need. So we are looking pretty sweet. Only thing we've got to do is find some better armour classes and possibly sort out some pathing, because I'm not sure what those two are doing. They look like they're doing some weird dance off. Thought this got sorted in a earlier patch, but at the moment the turret gunners aren't leaving their position to go and get food. So we're just going to manually equip them with a whole bunch of bread, so we don't need to worry about them for a while. Most of the stats now with turret and perception are around level 70. So these guys are getting super good, so we don't need to worry too much about training them. They are going to be pretty sweet. And the nice thing about perception and turret skill, it doesn't seem to speed up or slow down depending on their level. So at level 70 they're still going to be going up pretty quickly, and at level 1 they don't really go up any quicker either. So our turret gunners are going to be hyper deadly now. Once we actually close off the kill box and things get trapped against the gate, they are going to have hell rain down upon them. Now we have a oxygen thief trying to smack talk us, saying he'll feed us our teeth. So I think what we do is we just go over and give him a hit on the head, and hopefully he regains his senses. Because as far as things go, if there's a massive roaring crocodile in a base, I would not be smack talking him. But he is sorted now. We do have a Shek hunt coming in, so that should be a little bit of fun. And to make it a little bit more fun, I think that we should put down a couple more harpoons. Where everyone's stats are pretty decent now on the gunning skill, we don't need to worry about friendly fire too much. We don't need to worry about them missing and wasting shots. So we are going to put in a couple more harpoons so we can rain down even more damage. We were starting off with the crossbows for the simple fact that if we got hit by a crossbow, it's not really a massive deal with the armor that we're wearing. But now that the gunners are a little bit better, let's start getting some decent harpoons in instead of the crossbows, so we can cause a whole ton more damage. We have burnt through our stockpile of iron plates, so we had about 1,000 of them stored up, and now they are all gone. So we're going to need to expand the amount of forges that we have. So I'm going to be using the primitive forges for the simple fact they don't require any power, they're cheap to make, and they have a pretty decent production speed. So we'll get a bunch of them put down. We are holding pretty steady on the iron ore, so we have about 700 iron ore at the moment. So that is looking good on that front, but we will need to start moving some labourers across so we can have better miners and better smiths. And then we move the less skilled people onto other assets that we don't need as much of, so we can keep the supply chains going, because we want as much armour and weapons as we can. Sweet, our holy brothers have just arrived as the Shek are moving in. Most of the adventure squad is moving out to engage them, so it looks like I might have had a labourer or something out in the lowlands who aggroed some of the Shek on, but at the moment it is just 100 guardian at the moment, which means the rest of the Shek hunting team or hunting party will be following super soon. So we want to keep an eye out for them, because sometimes they end up going to Bad Teeth instead of coming to our base, and defending Bad Teeth is a little bit more challenging than defending our base because, well, it's our base. So it's quite easy to defend. We have beds, medical supplies and a bunch of other people. We will send a detachment over to Bad Teeth just in case we can't find them. But no, we have found the Shek hunting squad. So now it's just going to be a nice quick mop-up exercise. Move in, stab them in the face, they die. And then we start moving on our way to taking out World's End. We managed to get the intercept just before they got into the kill zone. So we have managed to isolate a small pocket right here. Once these guys are out, we will start moving in and taking out the rest. But they just seem to be stuck on the lowlands for some reason. They didn't go up the kill zone, which is, well, I guess kind of a good thing, because we can fight them on the open ground. That's not an issue. It means they're not going to be attacking our labourers or our smiths. So everything is going to carry on taking over nice and quick. And the Shek are dying, which is always a good thing. We know we are doing our righteous duty at that point. Just found another small group of Shek. When we find them in these small numbers, it is really good training for most of our adventurer squad, because our adventurer squad is mainly using katanas, and where they're using katanas they have a fairly quick attack speed, which means when the Shek swing their big heavy weapons, our guys normally have the dexterity and the speed to intercept and then attack back. Not always. The Shek are quite talented fighters, and seeing as we haven't found too many, I imagine a lot of them have disappeared off the Bad Teeth. So what we have is we have Gnu, Peter and Dexter going in, and it does look like the Holy Nation is fighting someone, but it would seem that it is the Black Dragon Ninjas, which is strange because I'm pretty sure we went in and murdered them early on in this series. That was a super quick clear up, but we will just hang around for a little while, see if there are any more stragglers or anyone gets back up, and there appears to be a couple, so we'll give the Holy Nation a little helping hand, and then it will be time to get together and then try to rain havoc upon those dirty tech hunters. We now have Peter, Gnu and Dexter heading up towards World's End. They're going to do a little bit of recon, see if it is a fight that we can take, and then once the base is secure, because we just have a bunch of bandits and annoying little things happening at the base, we have left the adventurer squad down there to make sure everyone is safe. But once we are happy that firstly it's going to be a worthwhile engagement, and secondly that our base is protected, we will move the adventurer squad up and then start hunting down the rest of those tech hunters, because we want those blueprints and we need to kill the dirty Narkos. Peter and GNU have made it to World's End, and Dexter has arrived as well, which is going to put us in a pretty decent situation so long as we can fight small groups, because these tech hunters have some fairly decent equipment, not the best kit in the world, but far better than what we have been facing, and their stats are some of the higher stats that we will have come across on any enemy so far. What we have done, more importantly, is we've changed one of the squads across to raiders, so that is Peter, GNU and Dexter, for the simple fact that those that have watched my series for any length of time now will know that my micro is impeccable and I never accidentally select everyone and then send them all to their deaths without realising. So just to make sure that doesn't happen, like it's never happened before, we have made it our own raider squad, but we want this to be a nice quick snatch and grab job, so we're just going to run Peter in as fast as he can. He's going to go into the armory, so once we're in the armory we're going to try and open one of the safes, get the schematics and then get out. And if that doesn't work, we'll do a full-on engagement and kill all the dirty narcos, but right now I think a snatch and grab is going to be a pretty good shout for us. Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast. In the time it took Peter to get into the armory and try to unlock the safe and then get hit a bunch of times, I wasn't paying attention to the other guys. Dexter was already down. GNU was fighting basically all of these by herself. GNU's a bit of a beast, so not a massive issue, but taking a whole bunch of damage. Managed to get Peter back, and yeah, we are not in a good situation, has to be said. So what I think we'll try to do is we'll try to pull back, try to split the group and then fight them in smaller sections, because at the moment with all of them coming at us at once we stand very little chance. Peter's weapons are super slow, so he occasionally can get a hit off, but it's not all that often, and with the 5x attack slots they just get full. And their guys' dexterity is pretty good. They're also mainly using ninja blades, which have a pretty decent attack speed, so Peter just ends up getting chain locked. GNU has a cross pole on, which has a pretty decent attack speed but isn't the greatest damage dealer, has to be said, and GNU is down, so it is just going to be about getting Peter to pull back and then try to fight smaller groups, and then hopefully we can just spin them down and go back in. But considering what we've just seen, this is not a fight that the Adventurer squad is going to be able to do much in. We will bring them up later just so we can try to secure some territory and then keep a lot of them down, but in a straight up battle those guys would murder the Adventurers squad. Good news, the 3 of them are up, which is obviously not a bad thing. Not in the greatest situation though. So Nippy is fighting a bunch of people with bleed weapons, so Nippy is going to be back down even though Nippy just regained consciousness. GNU is in prison and they have stolen the ninja blade off her, so we're going to need to try and find that back. Not that it's an amazing weapon, but it is our version of a Meitu, so we kind of want that back. And Peter is now stuck on a hillside fighting a whole bunch of tech hunters by himself and is pretty much just getting chain locked, so Peter probably won't be in the fight very long. And yeah, Peter's down, and it looks like they have stolen, they've stolen the ninja blade and they're taking the plank off him. Thankfully we can see the plank, but just keep an eye on these 4 because one of them has to have that ninja blade, which means that if we just fight them, knock them out, and then we should be able to regain that ninja blade. So not really the best of situations right now for us, but all we need to do, get GNU out of the prison, run back towards Peter and Dexter, and then we just regroup and then we start trying to fight smaller groups at the same time, because it's pretty clear to see that we cannot fight the massive group of tech hunters because they are surprisingly good at what they do. This is looking more promising. We were only fighting 2 tech hunters at the same time, so naturally that is good for us because we can take 2 quite happily. So we should be able to knock them out in no time, check them, see if they've got the weapon. GNU has finally picked the lock, so GNU is going to be able to escape, or apparently not. Just going to heal herself instead, which is a valid use of time. A couple more tech hunters have shown up, but yet again still not a massive issue. The first chance we get, we want to heal Dexter, because as soon as Dexter's healed his regen will kick in and it is insane. Once that regen starts going, then Dexter will be back in the fight in no time. And I've got to press escape, not set free, and all we do is we run GNU out, regroup the 3 of us, and then start wrecking havoc on some tech hunters. GNU was able to get out of the town and nearly got back to Peter until it turned out the tech hunters were quicker, so GNU had to stand her ground and fight. Unfortunately she is back down. We do have Peter trying to fight all of these tech hunters by himself, which isn't something that's really going to work out very well despite how tough he is, and he is an incredibly good fighter, but there is too many of them and they are too skilled. But we did manage to heal up Dexter pretty well, so Dexter should be back in the fight. His blood is super low, which means he only needs to get tagged a couple times and he will be back out the fight. But so long as he's only fighting 1 or 2 tech hunters at a time, he is going to absolutely wreck them, especially if he hits them on something soft. But I think we'll pull Dexter back, Ideally spread out numbers because a few more of them seem to be aggroing in. As long as we're not fighting many, Dexter should be pretty sweet. The adventurer squad is on the way up. I'm not expecting miracles from them, but at the moment what we are going down to is just sheer numbers. If we can start isolating tech hunter groups and work them down bit by bit, we seem to be doing quite well. We have managed to get both of the ninja blades back, but then we also then just lost Gnu's one straight away. Not a massive issue. I saw who took it, so we will be able to find them, hunt them down and take them. But having just some extra numbers, just be able to tank some of the hits and cause some damage is going to be super sweet for us. And especially if we can hold the outside, because there are so many tech hunters out here now that have been knocked down and they're coming up, and when they do, they've got sweet all left in the way of hit points. The adventurer squad is going to be very skilled at. It's just taking down weak people. But they're also going to get a whole ton of XP from it because the stats on these tech hunters are pretty impressive. Finally, just through sheer ignorance and attrition, we are starting to cause the tech hunters a whole bunch of damage. We have Gnu up, we have Peter up, and we have managed to thin out the tech hunters' numbers by a crazy amount. Also, we've just been going around stealing their weapons and then dropping them on the floor because, you know, details. If they don't have weapons, they can't fight. Their martial arts aren't particularly good. So this way, we have ourselves a little bit of an advantage. Adventurer squad is still a little bit of the way off, but having the outside of the town secure is going to be super good for the adventurer squad because they are, like I said, just going to be able to keep everyone down, which is going to help us out a crazy amount. We've also got Dexter in, and in small scale engagements, Dexter is absolute mean machine, and also incredibly good in massive battles where he's not fighting too many things at the same time. But as soon as more than 5 things start fighting Dexter, especially if they have bleed damage, just over time they'll wear him down and he doesn't stand too much of a chance. But he is a good doge nonetheless. Both Meitu Ninja Blades have now been found and re-equipped, and hopefully we don't need to go around and find them again. We do have a Starving Bandit raid back at the base. Not a massive issue, more of a slight inconvenience than anything. We do have the farmers who have been set to attack targets, so they are coming in and clearing them out quite quickly. Almost everyone else is set to passive so they don't get distracted from their work, and it also means the bandits are less likely to aggro onto them. But due to my incredible micromanagement that you guys know of, I completely neglected Peter and Gnu and Dexter, so they have now run up to the walls of World's End and are in a bit of a scrap. And unfortunately, a lot of these tech hunters are now quicker than we are, so we are kind of stuck with this fight here. It's not a problem. If we go down, we'll get some lockpicking experience and then we'll just be able to escape from the cages, which means that looting places is going to be a little bit easier. We have had to pull back Luna from the adventurer squad and I believe Evelyn, because they were moving a little bit too slowly. One because they were too over encumbered, and the other because their leg was smashed up. So they'll be returning to base, and at least that way we know we have 2 decent fighters defending the fort. Safe to say this is falling apart, and I'm going to need to bring this episode to an end before I do anything too stupid, and it'd be an Iron Man I can't recover from. So thank you very much for watching episode 18 of Rise of the Holy Nation. I've been Konzi. All your likes, comments, sub support have been amazing. You guys are awesome, and I'll catch you on the next one.